Hey, it's Daniel Tiblitz, and we're doing a little meeting with Nicole Thelin of Low Income Relief, and just wanted to give Nicole a chance to share a little bit about her website, her blog, and more specifically, an article that she wrote on a blog that she wrote on GD. And there was some very insightful advice on there, and just wanted to spend a few moments with Nicole to just go a little further in advice on GED, and just learn more about her mission with the website, and how and just what she's doing with the website. So, hi Nicole, thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So we'll just go ahead and start, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, and like what's the mission behind low income relief, and what motivated you to start it. What's the vision as far as what you're trying to do with it and everything.
All right. So I'm Nicole from Low Income Relief. That's how I was introduce myself. On a personal note, obviously I'm a content creator. I do YouTube websites. My background, sorry, is actually in journalism, is how I got started. I've started working as a journalist when I was 17. I've always loved writing, especially writing things that were impactful and helpful to other people. Um, I got married very young. My husband went into the military and he was actually injured in training. And so he was med boarded, medically discharged from the military. And that kind of upended my entire vision for my life. He was too disabled to keep working. He ended up on disability, and writing for newspapers just wasn't enough to pay the bills, really. And we were struggling to get by. Um, we ended up in this situation shortly after his discharge where we were 2 weeks away from being homeless. Basically, we'd been couch surfing with family and friends, and we both had jobs, but it just wasn't enough. And things were looking pretty bleak. And so I did what I do best. I went to the library, I started doing research, trying to find solutions. And it was the first time in my life that I started encountering things like Section 8 housing, low income housing, food stamps, all of these resources that were out there that I didn't know about, that the people in my life didn't know about. And through a series of absolute miracles and community organizations, we were able to pull together enough funds to be able to get into a low income apartment in the next town over, which just fundamentally changed everything for us. Like, we were one day looking at possibly having to live in our car with our kid. And then within 2 weeks, we had this beautiful townhouse. There were agencies that gave us food and furniture and everything we needed to get back on our feet so that we could put our lives back together and move forward in a way that would help us be successful. So that was kind of my first experience with low income resources. And after that, because we'd pulled off this incredible miracle, a lot of my friends and family would come to me and be like, "Hey, I need help with this crisis situation. Can you help me figure this out?" And so then I would go and I would find resources and do the same process and give them a list of places they could go for help. And about the 12th time I was asked for help paying rent in a certain city, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just buy a website and I will put everything I find on the website. And then you don't have to call me anymore. And it'll just all be right there for you. And it'll be easy to find. It'll be great. And so I bought lowincomerelief.com. And I think I had 5 articles on the site when it just went viral, because it turns out that my family and friends weren't the only ones who needed help with these things. So it took off. We started getting requests from, oof, I thought when I started it that it was just going to be for my family and friends, right? Like, I was just doing this to make their lives easier. And then I started getting requests from other places in Washington state and other people who needed help. And then it started to go nationwide, and I started getting requests from everywhere from Hawaii to New York to Florida and everywhere. And that's how I ended up doing this. So I've been doing it full time since it went viral. So our goal as an organization is just to make low income resources more accessible to the people who need them, because these programs are out there and they exist, but the government and the nonprofits that offer them often speak a different language than the people who are looking for help and who need them. And so we kind of bridge the gap as translators between this is what you're looking for, this is what it's called, and here's how you access it. So that's what we do and why we do it, I guess.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about the background of why you do what you do, and certainly, there's a need for sharing resources. It seems like, especially when we get into the professional social work and social services world, that sometimes we get into silo. We get so busy that we don't do the collaboration we need to,
I
or
I think the audio just cut out. I lost you there for a minute.
oh, okay. Let me. Are you? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, a short commercial for Verizon, old school Verizon commercial. So, but yeah, we just get into our silo, as professional social workers, and just really anybody out there working with those experiencing low income situations, and sometimes we get so busy with it that we forget to collaborate or look for different resources. So it's really neat to have a website like yours to bridge that gap, and also, as you mentioned, with the terminology, sometimes we get, so professionals get, so set on terminology that, or even just the language and things like that, that sometimes we miss the point in sharing those resources with those we're working with. So it's really good to have have that resource there. So
I'm
thank you.
very glad it's helpful.
It's very helpful. I've spent a short time on the website there, and it's been very helpful. And so, especially this GD article, and um, some things that I saw on there that were really helpful is just the idea that, if just a warning about the online GED programs, just knowing that your GED test is usually going to be an in-person thing, and to just make sure that people are aware of that, and because there's some people have these companies and programs have a way of being very convincing of their programs.
They
So
really do. It's astonishing to me how effective some of those scams are.
mm,
Um, I mean, obviously there's a lot of money in it, so they put a lot of money into their marketing, but
absolutely.
it's kind of shocking how prevalent those can be.
Right, right. And so what are some things that you found, as you were doing the research and writing that particular article, and we'll have that linked in the post with this recording on it.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
and so what were some of the highlights from that article, and things that you really were like, wow, as you were doing the research.
Yeah, so the article actually came about because it was really important to me. I graduated a little bit late and I was able to get my diploma because I got my GED, which was it's all in the article. It's a very weird sequence of events there. But I didn't realize until I was doing the research that there are over 30 million adults in America that don't have either of these, and I don't think a lot of them know how to get them. Um, and so when I started doing the research for resources, I was really struck because as a researcher, I usually go to page like 100 of Google anyway. When I'm researching things, I just dig and dig and dig through everything I can find. That's normal for me, but it's not normal for most people. Usually when somebody does a Google search, they're going to hit one of those top 3 results. And most of them were scams. So just looking for help on this subject, finding trustworthy places to go can be very, very difficult. So just to reiterate kind of what we were saying about those scam sites, um, A lot of them, the first red flag you're going to see is they're going to charge you a flat fee for the diploma or for the GED, that for the piece of paper you're going to get in the end. Whereas a legitimate opportunity, they're going to charge you for the test. You're going to end up paying for the test whether you pass or fail, unfortunately. But they're not going to charge you for the GED itself, if that makes sense. Anybody who promises you that you'll have it in under 2 hours, you should probably be wary about that too. That's not really realistic. A lot of them will promise to give one in exchange for life experience, which is also not a valid thing. There are some cases in some legitimate like high school programs where you can get some credits for career and life experience, but it's not going to be enough to take care of the full test equivalency. So those are just some red flags to watch for. I was also struck that there are actually, I don't know if you actually saw this. In preparation for this conversation, went in and updated that article yesterday with more information, just because I wanted to make sure that it was up to date and accurate. And I was able to find some additional information about agencies that will help cover those costs. Because I know that the cost of the test or of the program can be really prohibitive. So many St. Vincent de Paul affiliated churches can provide assistance with the cost of the GED test or a high school equivalency program. And I should have asked you this actually before we got into this conversation, but I was doing some research on LinkedIn where we connected, and it looks like you were located in Texas, so I hope that's right.
Yes, yes.
But Opportunity Resource Services of Texas will actually pay for up to 2 GED tests per eligible client. So if you fail it the first time, they even can help you try it again, which I think is fabulous. And they have an online course that they can provide us access to as well that helps you get ready for the test. So I thought that was really cool. Hopefully that helps. I tend to ramble. I'm sorry about that. I get really excited about this stuff.
No, that's great. It was great information, and definitely there's and you'd mentioned in the article, community colleges
Oh, yes.
and I think I forget what the other not was it libraries or it was academic like the teachers agencies or I
Mhm.
forget what the other resource.
So it's great places to go if you're looking for local help. Community colleges almost always can refer you to something that's valid in your area. A lot of high schools as well, if you call the high school, they have counselors there that usually know about resources in your area. A lot of these programs are super local, which is why it's really hard to cover like the entire country in some of
Right,
these
right.
posts.
I think that's what
But
stops a
yeah,
lot of people, yeah. So, I think that's what stops a lot of people from doing extensive work in resource sharing is, things are so different in not just states, but counties and things like that, but somebody's gotta do
oh yeah,
it. So,
right. And
yeah,
there's our team does the best we can, but we've got a pretty small staff, and I think we've got about 3 million people a year coming through the website. So
right,
we do
right.
our best to keep up, but it gets to be a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's and I think I guess the federal program is the EOC and they have like the trio programs. I don't know if that's a Texas thing or if that's a national thing. But they call here in Texas at the colleges they call trio services and they help with GED and
Oh, that's
things
great.
like that but that's all a part of this national equal opportunity commission um, program or something like that grant program and so that's been helpful with the people I work with down here and another thing I've found is looking at at the article is just how our culture, our society, you know, kind of diminishes the quality of a GED, and
Yeah,
I like how your article really lifts the GED up for those who may have missed that opportunity and when they were
absolutely.
younger. And so that was really cool to see, and I would like to see that promoted in our society that GED is not necessarily just because you don't have a diploma does not mean you can't, succeed and have a fruitful career. And especially with the trade schools and community college, I wish
Oh
community
yeah.
colleges got promoted more, and things like that, because there's a lot of employment opportunities that don't require the big 4-year degrees and the
Yeah.
doctorates and all that, and you can make some good money without having to go to school for 10, 20 years. So
Right. My husband dropped out of high school and got a GED, and the only time it's ever gotten in his way career-wise
Mhm.
was when he was trying to join the military. There are some
Uh,
military branches that getting him into the military was rough because one agency wouldn't take him because he had ADHD as a kid, and then I think it was the Air
uh,
Force said no because of the GED. They only take like 1 out of every 100 applicants can have a GED or something like
uh,
that for the Air Force. But
yeah,
other than that, and he works in tech. He got into community college just fine, and then once he did that, it wasn't relevant anymore, and I'm all for the GED. It made my high school experience a lot easier too because it took care of most of my credits. So
right. Awesome, awesome. And I saw where you had written, I guess there's a way for, if you just have a few credits left in high school, that you can
yeah.
get the diploma by doing the GED program. So that was cool to see.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave some of the information for people to read. There's a lot of really good information in that article, and so, but those were some highlights that I really thought were really cool to see, and so
Thank you.
uh, what are some other topics that are facing those in low income situations, that appeal to you, that you enjoy covering?
Oh, I enjoy covering everything. I If I had more time, there would be so much more content on the site because I genuinely love researching all this stuff. Researching is like I'm weird. I love research, love writing essays, my favorite thing. But right now, I think the biggest issues we've been covering is food and housing because with inflation right now, it's just getting impossible for people to be able to afford a place to live, which is, I mean, we're talking about really basic needs. So I've been doing a lot with that lately, trying to find more resources there. We've done a lot with, it's really frustrating to me personally because I feel like the more desperate situations become, like with housing, the more scammers get in there and just make a bad situation worse. So we've been doing a lot with vetting scams, what's real, what's not, what can people trust. And for us at Low Income Relief, we try very hard to make sure that everything we present is factual and accurate and not going to hurt anybody. So it's a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But yeah, anything related to anything low income. So food stamps, disability benefits, social security, food, housing, grants, anything like that is what we aim to cover. So,
Awesome, awesome. But yeah, those scams are a daily requirement to to sort through, unfortunately.
yep.
And well, now my thing is not. Well, the only question I can see now is, just share more ways that people can access low income relief, and just this chance just to share a little bit about how others can get connected with low income
Sure.
relief.
So the website is the best resource we have. That's where all of our information goes, is on lowincomerelief.com. We also have a YouTube channel for people who prefer to watch or listen to content instead of reading the articles. Unfortunately, with the way the YouTube algorithm works, we can't go into as much detail there. But our YouTube channel is called Low Income Relief as well. We have a Facebook group that we participate in pretty actively where people can ask questions and get answers from us. That's called Low Income Relief too. Everything that is ours is branded that way. Um, we have an email newsletter for people who want to opt into that, and we send weekly tips on how to save money and get free stuff, is kind of our tagline there. So those are the core ways that you can get in contact with Low Income Relief. So
I had myself on mute. So awesome. Thank you. Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us, Nicole. It was
of
a
course.
pleasure speaking with you. And lowincomerelief.com. Uh, we're going to try to share more of Nicole's stuff and
Thank you.
you know, because it's very helpful resource and so hopefully see more of your content soon and if there's anything you would like to share. I do want to finish with this question of you know, I think if some of the younger generations, you know, we always hear and we thought this when we were this age as well, you know, that these old people are telling us what to do and they haven't lived the same life we have and you know all this. So but I'm hoping that as 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 the younger generations see what you know, that we are dealing with real things and we have dealt with real things, that some of our advice is useful. And so with that said, what is something that you know now that you wish you knew when you were 18 years old?
Ooh, so many things. So many things. I think can I share two?
Yes, yes.
Um, I think the first thing is I have a motto now that would have really benefited me when I was young, and it's progress, not perfection. I was so focused on living up to what I thought everyone else expected of me
Mhm.
that I didn't want to do anything I couldn't do perfectly. And if I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it well, I just didn't want to do it. And I lost a lot of really good opportunities because I was so stuck in that mindset. So, progress, not perfection. As long as you're on an upward trajectory and you're trying, that's really all that matters.
Mm,
And going along with that, peace is something that comes from inside you. You're
mm,
never going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to get external peace.
right,
There's no housing or job or education or income that's going to be able to provide that. It's something that comes from inside. And I had no idea that that was true when I was younger. So that's definitely something I would have liked, would have helped me to know.
right. Well, I don't know about you, but those are two things that I have still been learning in my late 30s. So I
Same.
just recently learned those and so that I always tell those I'm working with, you know, with the progress over perfection. I mean, you know, we get this big idea about what we want to accomplish in life that we forget, you know, the next step and so you know, especially when you're in a low income situation, you know, sometimes that next step may seem minute or it may seem like these resources are not attainable, you know, that we need to accomplish and so I always tell those I'm working with that, you know, just take that next step no matter how big or small.
Yep.
As you make that progress forward, you're going to get to those things that seemed unattainable, and I've seen it happen, you know, with
Yep.
those who are just diligent and persevere through that process. So I really like that part.
Even
So,
small steps in the right direction will still take you
yes.
where you want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I cannot find the stop recording, so I'm just going to go ahead and end this. But I really
All right.
appreciate your time, Nicole, and thank you so much again. Nicole's
Yeah,
website,
thank you.
lowincomerelief.com, very helpful resource, and so thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.